Hello crochet friends, welcome to I Can Crochet That's video tutorial for the Tunisian Crochet Bean Stitch. This is for our new blanket that we just released, the Udelia. And for that blanket, you're going to need a size 7 Tunisian crochet hook with a long cord. This one is about 40, and you'll need one a little bit bigger than that for all the loops on the hook. But for today's tutorial, so that this isn't slapping on the table and annoying all of us, I'm going to use a long Tunisian crochet hook. This is a size 6. And we're going to do the tutorial with color theory from Lion Brand and 2 of Wands. So for the bean stitch, you can chain any number of chains, it doesn't matter. So for today's tutorial, we will chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Can't remember if I have said 15 or 16, but now we're chaining 15. Okay, so to start the stitch for this blanket, we're just going to do the regular foundation row, which is bringing up a loop in the back bump, the second back bump from the hook. So what you do is you count, this does not count, you count this first chain, 1, 2, so this chain, and then you turn it over, and there is the back bump. And that's what we do our foundation chain for Tunisian crochet in. So you put your hook in that back bump, yarn over, bring up a loop, and you do that all the way across. Back bump, bring up a loop, back bump, bring up a loop. And for those of you who may be watching this and are brand new to Tunisian crochet, we have quite a few beginner tutorials that might be a little bit better than this one. This one gets a little bit tricky, so you might want to check out some of those and find one that is a little bit easier than this one. I'd say this stitch is, I'd call it intermediate stitch. So all the way to the end. You have loops on your hook. Now for the return pass, the bean stitch, actually its return pass is a little bit different, but since our foundation row, we're just doing the regular Tunisian foundation row, we're just going to do the regular return pass, which is chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. So what I mean by that is chain 1 on the end, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. And you'll do that all the way across until this last one. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, 2 loops, all the way across. So that is a regular Tunisian crochet return pass. For the bean stitch, like I said, it's a little bit different, and I will show you how that's done. Okay, so now we're at the end of our row. All right, for the bean stitch, it's pretty similar to the regular crochet bean stitch, except we're leaving the hooks, the loops on our hook. So for the Tunisian crochet bean stitch, we are going to bring up a loop in the first vertical bar, not this one does not count. This counts as the first vertical bar. We're going to bring up a loop just like you would with the Tunisian Simple Stitch. So insert your hook under that vertical bar, yarn over, and bring up a loop. For the bean stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that same vertical bar, maybe, same vertical bar, yarn over, and bring up a loop. So you'll see we've only done the first stitch, but we have 4 loops on our hook. So for the second one, insert your hook, just like you would for Tunisian Simple Stitch, in that second vertical bar, bring up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook in that same vertical bar, and bring up a loop. Now, one thing for the bean stitch that makes it a little bit easier on the return pass is that when you're inserting and bringing up a loop, pull it up a little bit higher than you normally would. That will just make the return pass a little bit easier, which you will see when I do it. So again, this is our third vertical bar. Insert your hook under, yarn over, bring up a loop, pull it up a little bit, yarn over, insert it in that same vertical bar, yarn over, bring up a loop. So as you can see, this adds a lot of extra loops, which is why we need that long cord to hold all of those loops. So the next one, insert your hook under the vertical bar, bring up a loop, bring it up a little bit higher, yarn over, insert it in that same vertical bar, and bring up a loop and bring it up a little bit higher. Next one, same thing. Insert under the vertical bar, yarn over, bring up a loop, yarn over, insert it in that same bar, yarn over, bring up a loop. All right, let's just continue going across the row. All right, so we're to the last bar. So again, insert your hook under that last bar, yarn over, pull up a loop a little bit higher, yarn over, insert it in that same vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. So as you can see, we have these little clusters of 3 loops, which when we do the return pass, that is what will create the little bean stitch. So for the last one, just like in all the other Tunisian crochet patterns I have done, turn your work sideways, and you see those 2 bars on the side. So the easiest way to do this is always to turn your work sideways, insert your hook under those 2 vertical bars on the side, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that just creates a nice clean edge on the side. Okay, so the return pass for the Tunisian crochet bean stitch is we will start with the chain 1, but then after the chain 1, we'll yarn over and pull through 3 loops on our hook to create those little beans. So chain 1, and then yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I said 3, but you're pulling through 4 loops. So yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, and 4 loops on your hook. And as you can see, it just makes it going through all those loops on your hook a little bit easier because you pulled your loop up a little bit higher than you would for a normal stitch. So, yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, and 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to do that all the way across to the end. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is definitely easy, as you can see, to drop stitches on this, to drop loops on this stitch. So that's why I would call this an intermediate stitch. And believe me, I have dropped many stitches making this blanket. So we have 2 loops left on our hook, yarn over, pull through the 2. All right, there is your Tunisian bean stitch. So for this blanket, we have 2 rows of bean stitches and then 7 rows of Tunisian Simple Stitch. For sake of time, I'll do another row of bean stitches and then I'll just do 1 row of Tunisian Simple Stitch so you can see where you're supposed to put your hook for the simple stitch. All right, so let's do 1 more row of bean stitch. Now, you're gonna go into the loop on the top of each bean stitch, right there. So look for that loop right on the top of each bean stitch. And this first one can be a little tricky. You may have to like pull it up a little bit to get your hook in there. So look for that loop on top of the bean stitch, and let's do another row of bean stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Look for that next stitch on top of the bean stitch, insert your hook, and it helps to sometimes take your nail and kind of drag it over. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert it into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert it into the same stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And we're going to do that all the way across in each of those top stitches on top of the bean stitch. And just like you did the first row, make sure you're bringing up the loop a little bit taller than you normally would. Come into the last bean stitch, insert your hook into that top loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Again, turn your work sideways, look for those 2 side stitches, and insert your hook into both of those, just like that. Yarn over, pull up a loop. And see, we're getting a nice clean edge. All right, return pass again. This return pass is different. Chain 1, then yarn over and pull through 4 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way across. Last one, pull through 4. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, that's the 2 rows of bean stitches. This texture is so cool and it doesn't curl bad like the other Tunisian stitches seem to do, so that's a nice bonus. Okay, so for the Udelia blanket, like I said, there are 2 rows of bean stitches and then 7 rows of Tunisian Simple Stitch. We're just going to do 1 row of the Simple Stitch for time's sake, so this video isn't 45 minutes long. So again, look for that top stitch on top of each bean stitch, and that's where your Tunisian Simple Stitch will go in. That first one is a little tricky, and just do the Tunisian Simple Stitch as you normally would, except you're putting your hook into a different place. Not into the vertical bar, but into that top stitch on top of the bean stitch. And you just do that all the way across. Find that last one. Then turn your work sideways. Look for those 2 vertical bars on the side. Insert your hook under both. All right, so for this, we're going to do the normal return pass, which is chain 1, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2. All the way across. That is the Tunisian Simple Stitch. Now we'll go ahead and do 1 more row of Simple Stitch so you can get a good idea of what it looks like. So for the next row of Simple Stitch, you do it just like you normally would. Insert your hook under that first vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. Insert your hook under the vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, all the way across. And you'll do that for 7 rows. Into that last vertical bar. Turn your work sideways, look for those 2 side stitches. Insert your hook into both of those, yarn over, pull up a loop. And then the regular return pass. Chain 1, then yarn over, chain 1, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, all the way across. And there you have it. That is the Tunisian Crochet Bean Stitch and the Tunisian Crochet Simple Stitch for the Udelia textured crochet blanket pattern. I hope you enjoy making this as much as I do and hope you enjoy the texture. I also wanted to show you the fringe or the tassels on here. It's just 4 pieces of yarn held together and thread through every 2. So you'll have 2 chains in the middle before you do another one. And you can make these fringe as short or as long as you want. Experiment and make it yours. Make it your own design.